My name is Judy Durst, and I'm the Director of Education for the Big I of New Hampshire. I've been in the insurance business about 45 years, and I've been teaching insurance for many years.
Well, my name's Katie. I'm from the New Hampshire Association of Insurance Agents.
And we're so glad that you could join us today.
Today we have Jill Gidge with us. Jill has been in the insurance industry for many years, and she has ventured into the education side of it in the last few years. And we would like to discuss some of those current insurance issues that she has faced and seen, and how she is able to assist professionals with their obtaining their designations. Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So Jill, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, Lord. I have been in the insurance industry, well, from a perspective of actually working full-time in the industry, 1984, but I've really been in insurance since 1972, when my husband opened an agency in one room of our house, and you cannot have an insurance agency in your house and be a newlywed and not learn something about insurance.
Absolutely.
Because, well, he was a one-man show, so therefore I was the entire office support system. Back in the days of no computer, no fax machine, typewriter with actual carbon paper and all of that kind of thing.
I remember the days.
Yeah, I know you do. But anyhow, that's where it was. So I would learn, and he would say, fill forms out this way, and I'd go, why? And then I would read the forms and I'd say, what does this mean? So from 72 to 84, I kind of learned insurance kind of by osmosis and on the job training, because I would help him. Eventually he did move out of the house. Thank you. But when I got a room back, but in any case,
but you kept the husband.
Oh, yeah. I kept him for over 38 years. So I guess that was pretty cool. And then he decided to leave, so passed away. So had to let him go. But so I did that. In 84, I joined the agency because he had a staffing situation where the person left, and I had always filled in kind of on a part-time basis while I was doing nursing, which is was my primary career. I'd always filled in, and I said, well, do you want me to fill in? I am currently between jobs. Do you want me to fill in until you can find someone? And he said, sure. And the rest is history. I got licensed and stayed, and ended up being vice president and secretary of the corporation until we sold it in 2000. And then in 2002, when I left the acquiring agency, that's when I started training full-time, although I've been doing courses for Big I, New Hampshire in particular, since 1996.
Whoa.
Actually, no, take that back, 1992. I taught some of the first AAIs for education director at the time, Stan Burbank.
That goes back a long way.
When the EVP was Tony Giuliano. So I've been around a while. I'm older than dirt.
I'm right behind you, girl.
So I've had mostly agency experience and that kind of thing, but it's been an interesting career. The industry obviously has changed tremendously since 1972, since 1974, and even in the last 10 years, we keep changing, technology and forms and emerging issues and things that you would never have thought of as being even coverable, if you want to use that as a word, or able to be covered back in those days. Insurance companies have now found, obviously, ways to provide coverage, modified the forms, all that kind of thing. And, back in the day, we wouldn't have to worry about unmanned aircraft.
Correct. There was no such animal.
There was no such thing. I'm dying. Well, maybe not literally. I am dying to find out what's going to happen with flying cars now that New Hampshire has made it okay for there to be flying cars on our public roads. I am just totally dying to.
I'm all for it. I'd love to fly to work.
And so would I, George Jetson and all of that.
I fly, but I don't do it legally right now.
Uh-oh. You shouldn't be sharing this in a recorded podcast. No. we'll have the Stadies out looking for you. But so it's I've been around a while, you know, over the times, you know, I've gotten designations. You know, I started out, obviously you get licensed first, and then the first one I took was AAI because it was a good background, broad coverage for everything, so I could get to learn more about personal lines, which is where I kind of started out, and then get into commercial. And from there I did the CIC, and then from there you keep moving on, and eventually in 2000 I got my CPCU.
She's the alphabet lady.
I was going to say, what do all of those letters stand for?
You
A
really
lot.
want to know? A lot. It means professional insurance nerd, more than anything else. But each time I went, a lot of times the designation that I got was not necessarily because I really wanted a designation. I was doing it for continuing ed. And in the day when we were doing it way back then, the price of an examination was included in your fee. You did not have to pay extra for the test. And I figured, what the heck, I'll take the test and see what I learned. And you pass and you keep going, and suddenly you go, hey, I have letters.
Yeah, we still do that. We still have the Big Eye of New Hampshire still has the designation programs, and it's all inclusive what you pay. You get your
Yep.
book and you get the exam, and everything is all, you know, all in one. We don't charge extra for the exam.
Which
So
is
what's
good.
so important about these designations? Why are they advertised for insurance agents? Like, why should insurance agents try to achieve them?
Well, first of all, we have the mandate for continuing education, and 24 credits, 3 of which are ethics, every biennium, to make sure we can renew our licenses, and that's part of being a professional. But aside from just taking classes, including designation courses, so you get 6, 7, 8 continuing education credits towards your license renewal, it really is important because when you ascribe to being a professional, when you get licensed and you are a professional, one of the components of professionalism is continuous professional development, or the process of continuous improvement, if you will. And so, we are in a position to advise our clients. If you are not aware of what's going on, if you do not understand the coverages, one of the first designations when I was teaching AAI, it has always stayed with me, although they took it out of the text, which I wish they wouldn't have. One of the AAI 81A used to say, you cannot sell a product you do not understand. And realistically, some of the designation programs are designed, first of all, to provide a level of education to make you a better professional, to make you better aware of production, sales, managing an agency, if you will, or being part of a well-managed agency, preventing errors and omissions, and understanding coverage so that you reduce the potential for errors and omissions. Okay. And as part of being a professional, a lot of people take designation courses, and I have several friends who have never taken the exams. They've taken the courses for the educational benefit. They did not see necessarily that the letters after their name was a big deal. But the letters, once you've completed the course of study, really attest to your customers and to your peers the fact that you have put in the effort to be professional and to be current and to be up to date and maintain your level of professionalism. And so, there's a variety of designations out there. I mean, you can get adjuster designations and claim designations and underwriting designations and any number of designations, introductory level for the AINS programs and that kind of thing, which is a real good broad entry into insurance for new people. It's a good training program, but it brings you to that level that says, I've taken the care, it matters to me to be current. It matters. And that's where the designations come from. Sometimes you get them inadvertently, the way I did, because I was just looking for information and I took the exam. But when it came to CPCU, that was a conscious decision to be technically at that point, unless you're a life underwriter and you go for like a certified financial planner or something like that. In our property casualty injury, that's probably the doctorate level, or at least the master's level of insurance.
That's correct. And it's tough.
It is.
And
It
it's a
is.
commitment.
You know,
But you learn so much and you meet so many great people networking. It's very well worth it. Plus,
it
we
is.
have an active chapter of the CPCU Society in New Hampshire, and which Jill and I both belong to.
Yep.
So how do you assist others in obtaining their personal or their professional designations?
Well, one of the commitments that I do with the Institute courses and with other courses, and I write my own material too, just as Judy does for courses, short-term ethics, etc. One of the ways to help them is to be a good facilitator. Sometimes currently in the COVID era, we're doing everything virtual for the most part and remote, although I know Big I, New Hampshire has reinstated some live classes. That's a cool thing for those people who feel comfortable doing a course live. But you have to be there. Part of it is, you expect, I've had two types of students. I think Judy will probably attest to the same thing. You have the one set of students that comes in and they have not opened the book when they come to the class for the designation, and they expect that by sitting there for however many hours, days that we're going to be presenting this particular module or course, that by the end of the course, if they just sat there and took no notes and just listened to me, that they will be able to, or to Judy, that they would be able to pass the exam. And that is so far from the truth. Now, obviously, there are a few eidetic memory sponge type people out there who might be able to accomplish that. But by and large, the book that comes with the material is designed for the person to get a good, solid background. It is the student's responsibility to read it. Realistically, when we present, we are a facilitator, in that we are going over the material, not the entire book page by page, but we are pointing out key concepts. We are talking about things which many of the learners are confused of. Even to this day, people who are licensed and have been in the industry for years occasionally make comments and ask questions, and I'm going, that should have been licensing 101. How could you be in the industry for this long and not know that? But I'm not judging. Some people learn something and then if they don't use it, it just slips away. It's kind of like having a memory blank or something. So you just basically go, no, that's not how it works. But we're reinforcing and trying to clarify those areas where they may be confused, so that when the test question appears, they will understand it. And also talk about language. I mean, any designation program is not a reading test per se, but you must have a grasp of the English language and grammar in order to do this. And everybody says, I don't understand why we have to read these questions and interpret what they're trying to ask us. And the answer is, in many cases, we have to be able to do that because people are going to ask questions that are not just open, shut, yes, no,
Correct.
black and white. And so we have to be able to delve a little deeper, read
Use
a
our
little deeper, use our heads, and basically say, no, we need to take this a little bit further, that kind of thing. So it's more of a guiding and there to be a mentor, if you will, to encourage. A lot of people pursuing designations occasionally, if it's a multi-part designation, get discouraged. I think Judy knows too, although your pass ratio is excellent like mine is on the exams, but not everybody passes the exam the first time. Everybody tastes differently. So part of what you do when you're teaching the course also is talk about how to read a question, how to think about it, read it again, think about it, so that you understand what the question is asking. So there's a little bit of not teaching, test taking, but helping them understand how the test might be constructed so that they can do better on it. And encouraging, it's okay. I had one student say, I'm so sorry I didn't pass. They called me to tell me they didn't pass. I'm so sorry. And I said, sorry? And she says, yeah, you were such a good instructor. And I said, don't feel as though you have to apologize to me. If it wasn't at the level that you needed at that moment in time, or maybe the day you took the test, you were having a bad day. It's okay. You know, I don't know if you were at the CPCU national meeting, Judy, where one guy got up and he was one of the class speakers and he was getting his designation and he was so proud of himself. And he said, here I am, it's taking me, I don't know, it was 20 or more years to get a CPCU. And he said, I've taken every exam. He said, some of them multiple times. He said, and one of them at least 10.
Wow.
But he persevered. He persevered. It had taken him over 20 years and he was determined not to give up. And I think part of our job as educators and instructors and mentors and, you know, people to help people who want to get better and to be more professional is to let them know that it's a journey of 1,000 miles. It's one step in front of the other. And, you know, occasionally you take a step back and then you take it over again.
So you're going to be joining us for our annual meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Virtually. And so you're going to be teaching an ethics course, but it's a little bit different. Just a tad different.
It's a tad different.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
It's a little on the radical side. Some might find it just a skosh controversial, but you can't talk about some of the issues we're going to address. The title is Racism, Ethics in the Insurance Industry. And one of the things we're going to look at is we're going to talk about what is ethics and how it functions and why we should be ethical, obviously. And we're going to talk about ethical issues in the insurance industry. And one of the things that many people may not know is that if you go back historically, one of the constructs or one of the concepts that has been put forth over the years is that ethical thought patterns of the day, because ethics does change. It's not cast in stone since the time of Aristotle. Ethics and what we feel about ethics and what is right and wrong has changed over the years. But the ethical constructs, ethics in many times has been developed and accepted and standards set in order to promote racism, in order to control a segment of the population. And so therefore it is considered ethical to own slaves in the Southern plantation era. It was considered ethical to have serfs in medieval England. It was considered ethical, realistically, or their right to enslave an entire nation, looking back to the Babylonians and the Egyptians.
Wow.
And it's all based on the fact that the way they saw ethics, and sometimes religion played into it as well. We're not going to talk religion, but it was, we're not going there. But a lot of times it is the way they saw what was right and what was wrong that actually promotes and sometimes sustains ideologies like racism. And we're going to look, you know, it may offend a few people. We're going to actually look at the fact that even though we think we are so not racist in some cases, you know, never mind the news, racism in insurance still exists in rating, eligibility, and classification, whether we like it or not.
I can't wait to see this presentation, and I'm sure that the rest of you would like to see it as well. It's going to be September 28th and 29th. Our annual convention goes virtual, and so, you know, hopefully, I know Jill will be there, but I hope that everyone else can join her as well.
I hope so too, and I hope, you know, they will learn something, and I hope they will come to this class not just to get 3 hours of ethics because they need it to renew their license.
Right, yeah, you want them to come away with something.
That, and I hope they come to it with an open mind. I am not bashing one thing or another. I'm not saying that what one industry is doing, but we have to look at the socioeconomic environment, and a lot of what we have, what we perceive and how we have all these issues today is that we are now a post-modern globalized community, and it's not just the United States of America, 50 little states or fewer little states in a little confined space, and we don't have to interact with anybody. We really have to be alert and pay attention. Jill,
I have one last question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What would be some advice that you would give to someone new a new agent coming into the industry?
First of all, although many people say, I don't want to be an insurance person, all you do is sell. It's so much more than just selling. Do we have to sell a product? Yes. If you wish to earn an income, yes, you have to sell the products that are available to you through your insurance companies so that you get commission and that kind of thing. But it's so much more than just sales. It is protecting the well-being, the financial assets of the community, of the insured, and also the community, because insurance is a social mechanism without which there would be huge burdens that we don't even think about on a day-to-day basis to the society. I mean, I'm going to pick on a case that's hugely old. And some people are probably young enough that they may not know, but a number of years ago, there was a devastating fire in Malden, Mass, at the Malden Mills, owned by Aaron Feuerstein. And that mill was closed or essentially almost inoperable for better than 18 months. Okay. But because of the way he and his insurance agent constructed their insurance program, particularly with loss of business income, never mind the property insurance to physically restore, repair, replace the buildings itself, the way he did his time element coverage, he was able to keep every single employee on at their normal salary, paid them their Christmas bonuses, gave them their Thanksgiving turkey, also met because it's required all of the retirement and other bonus plans that are part of the employee benefit packages. And when he was asked why he did that, he said, I am the largest employer for the city of Malden. He said, if we close, all these people will be unemployed. What a huge social welfare burden on the community, not to mention the loss of tax revenues from the people and from my own business to the town and community of Malden. He said, not only will the people suffer, the town itself would suffer. He said, it is corporately, socially responsible for me to do this. And that's really what we look at when we do insurance. So it's so much more than just selling a product. We have to be aware of the impact that insurance has on our individual clients and their overall well-being. You know, it's been sad to some extent, but it's not a covered cause of loss. All of the lost business income due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but a virus is not a covered cause of loss. Were it, we would be in a much better place. You know, not that they're going to change the causes of loss to include viruses at this point in time, but you look at that kind of thing and the kind of financial harm that's happening because it's not able to be met by an insurance policy. And those situations, so many of them that we can help. It's so much more. It is helping your community. It's helping your own family. It's helping your friends. It's a lot broader than we tend to think it is. You know, we just think about taking care of one person at a time and, you know, we did a good job and maybe they had a loss and maybe it was covered. And as long as we gave them all the right offers and everything else, it should be fine.
Yeah.
But we have the concept or the issue of the fact that insurance is actually goes beyond taking care of the individual. When you take care of the individual, you're also taking care of the greater global community.
I guess I never really thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Well,
if you make me whole, I have money to spend.
Correct.
Correct. Well, thank you so much, Jill, for taking this time with us, and thank you for being a part of our virtual convention, September 28th and 29th. And I'd also like to say a small thank you to Liberty Mutual and Safeco for sponsoring not only this podcast, but also our convention, which can be found on our website at nhaia.com. Click the banner, and then you can go register from that site. If you need to reach Jill, where can they find you?
Oh, I'm difficult to find. I hide under a rock. No. You can find me fairly easily. Judy can send them an email. It's jgidge@comcast.net. You know, as long as you're not sending me spam and you're not sending me other weird kinds of stuff. All of my students get my email and I hear from them periodically because they have questions. So you can find me there.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Jill.